What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Jason. You're watching Backtrack Cinema. And welcome to Hop Off the Spot improvised show tonight. Just went with it tonight. I did not plan this show, although I did plan this video. But I thought, let's do it. I don't have to get up early tomorrow. I got to do some CPR training tomorrow, so I can sleep in a bit. So let's do a show tonight, guys. And 31 movies that made me. 31 movies that made me into the movie fan that I am today. We're going to go through some physical media here, a little bit of DVD, Blu-ray, some VHS tapes. We're going to have a good show tonight, guys. So if you like this kind of content, please like and subscribe and all that jazz. And let me know if I sound okay. Am I a little loud? Am I a little too quiet? Just let me know in that chat room. And I'm going to go to the chat room right now after I put my ticker on here. There we go. Welcome to Backtrack Cinema. And we got, let me start from the beginning here, guys. Brandon Meacham says, good evening, J-Man and chat. And he says, full confession, I haven't seen half the movies on this list yet. That's okay, buddy. That is okay. You know, I was born in 1979, grew up in the 80s, teenager in the 90s. So we're going to be going chronological order as well, guys, from 1976 to 1995. Pretty much all these movies I'm going to talk about and to share my love for them were the ones that really shaped me into the movie fan that I am. I was going to say music fan that I am. That'll be a different video. And Brandon says, I do love action films, Jason, but I've always been more of a horror genre guy personally. Me too. Me too, man. I love horror and action pretty much equally the same. We got the Prince. The Prince is in the house. The Asian action assassin. I love that handle, man. Sup, Jason? What is up with you? Brandon says, I sound good. Awesome. Awesome. 197 chicks, underrated year. Because this is right. I'm taking notes of this one. Cool, cool, cool. So, yeah, guys, as I said, this is going to be a great show tonight. And, you know, I don't know how long it's going to go for. We just got 31 movies to show you. Now, I did a short series on YouTube Shorts of these, where I pretty much posted a clip, showed you all the movies. I'm changing one movie in the same franchise, but we'll get to that. But I'm going to just, it's not really a ranking, guys, just a little fun discussion. So let me know if you're watching after the fact. Let me know in the comments of movies that shaped your movie taste, made you the movie fan that you are now, and engage in the comment section with me, guys. It'd be a lot of fun to hear all the movies that you guys love too. Prince, the Asian action guy, says, is there any Clint classics here today? Not I love Clint Eastwood. My dad was more the Clint Eastwood guy. Clint Eastwood is someone I you know, fell in love with later. I only went through the Dirty Harry series a couple years ago. So yeah, we're gonna get into it. There's a lot of different genres I'm gonna touch on. There is horror, there's action, some comedy, you know, some cult classics. So yeah, and let's get on with the show here, guys. The first one I'm going to start with, I've talked about this movie, The Death, coming from 1976. The original Rocky. I mean, I think you all know how much this movie means to me. I love Rocky 1. This is the tape. This is the one I carried in my backpack to school in around grade 6. So 10, 11 years old, I really came to this movie. My mom bought it for me when we were out and about. And yeah, I used to just sit there eating my lunch at the desk, reading the back here. You know what I mean? I would just read it, then think about watching it when I went home. And Rocky, you know, just feels like a friend, right? So every time I watch it, it just feels like I'm going back and spending time with a friend rather than watching a movie, as bizarre as that sounds. And, you know, a lot of these movies I'm going to talk about, it's the movie I fell in love with, or maybe it's the character I fell in love with, or I could relate to it, or just it made me love the art of cinema so much. And Rocky's an Oscar winning film, man. It's a bona fide classic. And usually it's a what in the American Film Institute top 100 films of all time. So absolutely love Rocky, and it has got probably my favorite movie moment of all time, where Rocky gets knocked down and he gets back up. A huge metaphor against life. Apollo representing that life that we all have to face. And what do we do when we get knocked down? We get back up, right? So Rocky holds an extremely special place in my heart forever. Um, the Prince says that Adrian Rocky date got me hooked. Yeah, it's a big chunk of the movie, isn't it? Too. The date goes on for quite some time, which I really like. Brandon says I watched Rocky a few times. I go back and forth on my feelings on it. That's fair. It's fair. Favorite Rocky sequel though? Oh, you just hold on, buddy. You just hold on. And Brandon says I still have to watch the Rocky sequels. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. There's some fun to be had in every movie. You know, some people like the over the top 80s movies like the Rocky 3, Rocky 4. Others like the more character driven stuff, the slow burn stuff like you get in Rocky 1 and Rocky 2. But they're all good, man. Sylvester Stallone, just no one plays the character. Well, he's the only one who has played the character, right? So he plays the character so well, and I just love Rocky, and more Rocky to come soon. So some good old tea tonight, guys. Let me know what you guys are drinking. Have you popped the popcorn, getting your drinks, relaxing on your couch? Are you watching on the tablet, TV, on your laptop? How are you enjoying the content tonight? That's what I'd like to know. The Drago fight is my favorite. It's great, man. You rank some of the best fights ever. I think you have to have Rocky and Drago fight in that discussion for sure. All right, so moving on to 1978. Now, I just got the box set, and that is Superman. I'm talking about the original Superman from 1978. This is all 6 movies. This is a glorious little box set I bought for just a solitude, but I'm talking about the original movie. Now, I watched Rocky 2 a lot. I watched, or sorry, Superman 2 a lot. I watched Superman 3 a lot as a kid. Superman's probably my favorite superhero um, of all time. I have absolutely loved Superman, and the big old trailer dropped today for James Gunn's Superman, and it got me emotional, man. It got me jacked. That's all I want to see. I don't want to see anything else until I go see that movie. So I'm excited to see where James Gunn takes this. I think this is going to be a very good uh, version of Superman. That's what it feels like to me anyway. I've been wrong before, but talking about the 1978 Superman, it's a classic. And everything like that, but I do think it's probably not my. I don't think it's the perfect masterpiece that maybe everyone else thinks it is, but man, watching that as a kid, when that tagline, "You will believe a man can fly," you believed it, man. You believed it, man. When you first see that, and the way they got Christopher Reeve flying through this whole thing, and some of those wide shots where he's like this small, he's flying through the air and stuff like that is absolutely incredible, right? And every rendition, VHS, the DVD, the Blu-ray, the movie still really holds up in a lot of ways. I think it gets it's got this silliness to it now at times. Like I really like the setup of 1978 Superman. When Clark's father dies, and then he has to go on this journey to find out who he is and everything. All that stuff at Smallville, I really, really like, man, a lot. We'll continue this little Superman conversation. Just want to address the chat here, guys. Brandon says, I think Man of Steel was my first official Superman flick. The OG is a classic, though. I actually like Man of Steel more as a movie than the original Superman, but Christopher Reeve is my favorite Superman. Chris Reeve is Superman, like Conroy is the Batman. Yeah, I know a lot of people like Conroy for the Batman, right? Prince says Lex Luthor looks like the guy from the Hitman games. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I did notice that, and you are right making that analogy. But yeah, Chris Reeve as Superman. He brought so much heart to the character. You know what I mean? And there's that classic scene where he saves Lois with the helicopter. I mean, you watch that even now, it holds up incredibly well. You know what I mean? Where he gets into his suit and he's ready to fly up, and the guy goes, "Damn, brother, that is one bad suit." Just laugh every time I see that. And the way he flies up, saves Lois, then gets his hand, pushes the helicopter up to the roof, and him and Lois have that, great conversation there and everything like that. And then, it's a great film. It just brings back so many memories. I used to dress up as Superman, fly around my house, all that stuff. I just love this character. All right, we got SK Thorer again. I hope I said that right. I'm sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. Batman movies are my favorites. You know what? Yeah, I know there's a lot of people who love Batman. I love Batman too, but I always just really love Superman. Brent says, I trust James Gunn 100%. Yeah, well, he did a good job with Guardians, right? Hey, SK. Okay, I love Batman. Talking to other people in the chat. I love it. Communicate, guys. Make friends with everyone in the chat. Make everyone feel welcome. Thank you for joining me too. As always, I don't want to overstate that. I appreciate you. Anybody who watches my live shows and everything like that. So, Brandon says, "Do you like the costume for the new Superman, Jason?" I don't have a problem with it, man. Brandon, I know a lot of people don't like the S, but if you see the original comic of Superman, the S is kind of like that. It almost looks like that. There's a real similarity. And, everyone's got to have their own stamp on Superman. And James Gunn just, doing something a little different. And when I saw the trailer today, I'm like, it feels like Clark Kent to me. Feels like Superman to me. The costume looks great. I thought some of the flying looked awesome. Looks like this Superman has a little bit of an attitude. This real confidence to him that I really like. So we'll see. SK says Indiana Jones movies is great too. One of them's coming up, buddy. One of them's coming up. And Prince says Crypto is a cute doggy. Yeah, I didn't originally know how I felt about the dog, but I'm down for it. Very comic book like, right? But yeah, Superman series is great. That original 78 movie. And shameless plug, we are going to be doing the Superman Watch Party series starting very soon. On the beginning of June, we're going to go through Superman, Superman 2, Superman 3, 4, Superman Returns, and end it with Man of Steel. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel to catch all the watch parties for Superman coming up. For sure. All right. Okay, moving on to 1979. We got Rocky 2. This is another movie that just really shaped my love for Rocky. It really shaped my love for movies. I could still tell you, sitting somewhere, I don't know if that was a family member's house, in front of a huge tube TV, really, really, really young, seeing the yellow scroll go by of Rocky 2, and I thought it was awesome. I got so engaged with this movie. And even though it's a slow burn, Rocky 2, I love it. I love where they take the character. It has my favorite training montage. It has my favorite fight, and it has my favorite music. Well, I still think the original Rocky is probably the best music, maybe at least the most iconic. But I like what they did with it. I like what Stallone did with this movie. You have to always root for Rocky. You always have to bring him down so he has this giant hill to climb. And when we see him climb that hill, achieve his goal, it's great. And he had to beat Apollo in this movie, right? He just had to beat Apollo in this movie. But you see him get married, have a kid, go through financial problems, go through marriage problems. And he learns that he is a fighter You know what I mean? He learns that this was not just some way to make money. It's what he is. He is a fighter, and I just love everything about this movie, man. And I just take that end fight is just amazing. Love the score behind it. Paulo Creed is great in this. So Rocky 2 is definitely a movie that really shaped my love for film. Um Brandon, for his first directing job, Stallone did good on Rocky 2 for sure. Prince says, question for you though. How did you come up with Backtrack Cinema as your persona? Good question. Great question. And I love that question. I don't know if you know her, but Beth from Miss 80s Movies and Music. She's a good friend of mine, and I was emailing her. I said, I want to rebrand my channel. I want to start a new channel. And, I don't know what to really call it. She gave me a few ideas and she named the channel. She said, how about Backtrack Cinema? And because I don't get to go to the movies all the time, I'll never be able to review the latest film every week. I decided, why not rediscover movies from the 70s, the 80s, and 90s, and create a community who just loves nostalgic movies, who likes going down that nostalgic road. And I like Backtrack Cinema, and I got someone to make a logo for me and told me what my channel was all about. And yeah, I really love my channel name. I don't know how everyone else feels about it, but I love the title Backtrack Cinema for sure. But yeah, I had a friend, she named it for me. She gets the credit. I give her all the credit all the time. Brandon says it still hurts that Carl Weathers is not with us anymore. Oh yeah. So many great movies. He does that fun action Jackson. He was in The Mandalorian, Predator, the Rocky series. He made a stamp on, a lot of genre films for sure. Prince says Grudge Match with Stallone and De Niro is underrated too. I agree. I think it's a real funny movie that's winking at the audience. So I do like that one. Prince says, I take it you've seen the Creed movies. Yep. Yeah, I like Creed 1. I like Creed 2. Creed 2 is a great double feature with Rocky 4. Rocky 4 to Creed 2 is great, but Creed 3 I did not like. Not a fan of Creed 3. It feels like a complete departure from the Rocky series. But Michael B. Jordan wanted to do his own thing with it. I wasn't big on the fight. Thought it looked awful. But that's just me. And Brandon says, I like it, Jason, the name and logo. Thanks, man. Thank you so much. All right, what are we doing? 1980. 1980 now. An absolute blockbuster hit. The Empire Strikes Back, guys. I can't tell you how many times I watched this version of this movie. This is the OG version. Check that out. Check that out there. The battle continues. In George Lucas's spellbinding Star Wars sequel, the battle to save the galaxy from the evil Darth Vader rages on. It's fantastic, this film. Little story about this film. I mean, like it could be one of the first films I really, really fell in love with. I mean, I would go out playing outside. I would come in. I wasn't allowed to touch the VCR, so she would put Empire Strikes Back on for me, and she'd go, not again? You want to watch that again? And I would watch it like 3 times a day. Like, I wouldn't watch the whole thing. I'd watch parts of it, go out and play, come back, watch a bit more, go back, watch it a bit more. And man, The Empire Strikes Back's a perfect film to me. And all these movies you're looking at a 4, 5-star movies, or in my case, like letter B to A, B plus A. You know what I mean? And what Empire does so great is expand on this story. There's so many characters that we love. More are introduced. They all get this. They get this screen time that is absolutely awesome. Like, they all share the screen equally. You know what I mean? You get all the sexual tension between Han Solo and Princess Leia. You get everything going on with Luke and Leia. You get a lot of Darth Vader. You meet Lando, but the way the movie gives them all equal amount of screen time in a 2-hour movie, I think it's 2 hours, pretty impressive. Pretty impressive, man. Yoda and Darth Vader are my favorite Star Wars characters, and there's a lot of stuff going on with themes in this, of friendships and fear, and how Luke has to like abandon his training because he's just got this fear of losing his friends. You know what I mean? And all that stuff going on. And they expand on the lore of the Force. This is the movie where you really learn about the Force in this one, right? Excuse me, guys. Um, and Empire, it has that classic ending where we find out Darth Vader is Luke's father. Could you imagine? Imagine sitting in the theater back then and finding this out, and how much of a twist that must have been. He's like, "No, I am your father." You know what I mean? Amazing. And the cinematography and Vespin and everything like that, where Vader is standing when Luke arrives, and Darth Vader is standing there, and he's just like, "The Force is with you, young Skywalker, but you are not a Jedi yet." You know what I mean? It's just how menacing he looks in the shadows and everything. And I love the lightsaber fight. A lot of people love the Revenge of the Sith, the fight and everything like that. And it's very elegant. It's very choreographed. It looks great. Don't get me wrong. Very video game like to me though, but I like a more aggressive, I like a more emotional lightsaber fight. And I think the one between Luke and Darth Vader, just how elegant Darth Vader can be, and how Luke is trying desperately to fight this guy, right? I think there's a lot more emotion behind it, and there's a lot more, well, maybe not a lot more emotion, but just the physicality was just a little different then. You know what I mean? But Empire, man, it just such a good movie. The Battle of Hoth is absolutely fantastic. Brandon says the Star Wars prequels hold a special place in my heart. Phantom Menace, one of the early movies I saw in the cinema. I saw the OG trilogy later in life. Oh, okay, okay. So yeah, I grew up with the original trilogy. So, Princess, I gotta admit, man, I need some Peckinpah in my veins. I've never seen the original Killer Elite. I need to change that Sunday. I do this thing called Sundaytainment and focus on the classics. I'm all set. Awesome, man. I was already spoiled about the reveal on Empire from Toy Story 2. Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah, that's what happens, right? That's what happens. But yeah, Empire is absolutely fantastic, guys. Okay, I don't have a VHS tape of Rocky 3, but that will be the next one. But I got this little box set that comes with Rocky 3. And yeah, Rocky 3 is just another one that shaped my taste for movies. It shaped my taste again for Rocky films. It's an over the top, feels more like an action movie the way it's paced. Stallone did something different with it, but it still has a lot of the heart, the drama. Clever Lang is one of the best villains in the Rocky franchise, an iconic '80s villain for sure. All the, what do you call it? Uh he's talking trash, the trash talking. All the trash talking he does, the way he insults Adrian, everything like that. And this is where we see Mickey die, and that's a very emotional scene. And then we build on this friendship between Apollo and Rocky that I think is fantastic. Rocky, I've seen Rocky 3 so many damn times. I could quote it to you. I would quote this movie and quote this movie and quote this movie. Watched it so many times with my brother. Just a lot of freaking memories of this rewind, like rinse, wash, and repeat, man. Especially the Hulk Hogan fight. We'd always have a blast watching Rocky 3. It was just absolutely awesome. All right. All right. You guys are good in the chat. Good, good, good. Okay, next is an animated movie. I don't know if you guys have seen this one from 1982. It's called The Secret of Nim. I think this is well worth a watch. This is a real kind of a dark cartoon, real fantasy style cartoon about this little mouse named Mrs. Brisby, and she is her husband has died and everything like that, and they live like on a farm field kind of stuff, and they have to move, and her son is sick. Her son's name's Timmy, and she has to get all the rats in the farmer's field to move her house. And it goes down a rabbit hole of real fantastical stuff, because we find out that the mice can talk, the mice talk in this and all that kind of stuff, all because of an experiment that happened to them. And that's how they all got smart. And these are smart mice, smart rats, and everything. This is Don Bluth, I think. Yeah, directed by Don Bluth. So what he was an animator from Disney, and he got really upset with Disney, and he left Disney, and he made this movie with MGM, I think. Maybe I can, if I can see this, I'll read the bit of the back here. Heartwarming, enchanting, and beautifully crafted, the magical cartoon fantasy marks a new era for animation. Gorgeous to look at. It delights kids everywhere. An extravaganza of dazzling animation, The Secret of Him is based on Robert O'Brien's award-winning tale of a timid mouse who becomes a heroine in spite of herself, trying to save her house from the farmer Fitzgibbon's plow. Mrs. Brisby, the mother mouse, gets help from a wonderful klutzy crow, a wise owl, and some highly intelligent rats. You'll marvel at the impressive abode of the great owl and the Oz-like kingdom, the mysterious rats. Yeah, it's very Wizard of Oz-like, guys. You know what I mean? In an animated movie, but it's dark. You know what I mean? It has some dark imagery for a kids movie. Like when she has to go up to this owl, this great owl, and he's eating things, and he's kind of scary, and he's in shadow, and the voice and everything like that. But it truly is worth your time. You should really check out A Secret in Nim. I watched it so many times, and it's fantasy movies are something I really liked when I was a kid. I still like now, and it's one of the ones that really shaped my love for fantasy. You know what I mean? Um, Brandon says, "How would you compare modern action to the action of 80s, 90s, etc.?" Well, there's nothing wrong with modern action movies. The Mission Impossible movies have done a good job. Equalizer, Taken. They're definitely a little more serious. They're a little more grounded. Some of them. Um, but I think the thing with the modern action films, not everyone, but they lack a lot of that charisma, that popcorn style kind of action movie like Commando, right? Where you just go in to have a good time. You don't care about logic, and those kind of movies won't come back again. You know what I mean? They sometimes they do. Like The Fall Guy from like last year, was it? That was a real felt like an 80s action movie in a lot of ways. But I like both, Brandon. I love the modern action film for the more gritty, raw style. You know what I mean? You can take it really seriously. But I'm just a huge fan of the 80s and 90s action movies. I don't think they'll come back like that again, man. You know what I mean? And then there was so many of them that were so good. If that answers your questions, if that answers your question, I mean, do I prefer 80s or 90s action? Yes, but I think there's a lot of great action movies out there. Brandon says, I remember Secret and Nim. I think we had the story read to us in elementary school. Cool, cool, cool. Don Bluth created Dragon's Lair. Oh, really? Back when PG kids movies mean parental guidance, not practically G. Yeah, you know what I mean. Um, yeah, so do I, Brandon. Love Commando. And the Prince says Rambo or RoboCop. Rambo, man. I'm a huge Rambo fan, but I like both those movies. All right. Need lots to drink, guys. All right, next. 1982 we're on. And speaking of fantasy, The Beastmaster. This is another movie I watched so many times when I was a kid. You know, I watched Conan the Barbarian a lot, but I watched this movie a lot. Now, I haven't watched it in a long time, so I don't know how this movie's going to hold up, but it's Mark Singer, Tanya Roberts, John Amos, you know what I mean? And the Beastmaster is this kid who grows up who can talk to the animals. And so along his journey, he his village gets destroyed for one thing, right? His village gets destroyed. It's kind of like Conan, and he goes after revenge, and he could talk to the animals. So then he gets a black panther with him. He gets these ferrets. He gets there's a crow or a bird that leads him along the way, and it's all about a character really trying to find himself. And I loved it. I loved it. I don't know how it will hold up now. I'm sure the effects are very dated, but it's Don Coscarelli. It's Don Coscarelli who did the Phantasm movies. So always loved the Beastmaster. Hey, Fachi, what's going on? Matt, what's going on, buddy? Kind of an impromptu tonight, buddy. This was not a planned show, but thank you for dropping in, man. Says Jason, my brother. What's a poppin'? Um, he says sup, Brandon. But SK says Quentin's Pulp Fiction, Reservoir Dogs movies are classics. I'm not the biggest Tarantino fan, although I do like Death Proof, and I liked Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. But those movies kind of came later in my life, so they didn't really shape my movie taste at all. But The Beastmaster is another example of why I love fantasy so much. You know, get rid of the technology. Give me a guy in a loincloth and a sword just destroying everyone, and I'll love it. Like Conan, like Beastmaster. Excalibur was another one I watched a lot. You know what I mean? Star Wars is pretty much fantasy. So I've always really loved the fantasy genre. I guess it struck a chord with me because when you're a kid, you're really imaginative and all that. Your brain's always thinking and stuff like that. So yeah, I love the Beastmaster. All right, John Carpenter's The Thing. To me, this is his masterpiece. Give you a little look there, guys. The Thing, man. What? This is filmmaking at its best. You know what I mean? I love this movie now at 46 years old. I loved it when I was a kid. And you know, it didn't terrify me as a kid as it probably should have. You know what I mean? The Thing, you know, I thought it was just cool. I thought the effects were cool. I thought the characters are awesome. The real quirky one-liners were awesome. Like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. When I see the freaking spider going along, but the effects, man, it just blew my mind back when I was a kid, and everything was so organic and wet, and it just looked fucking disgusting and gross, and it has this paranoia running through this whole movie, man, that is incredible. And it's probably the movie that made me into a huge Kurt Russell fan. That and another one we're going to talk about. But man, The Thing I watched with my dad. See, my dad was not a horror guy. My dad was a Western guy, a sci-fi guy. So he watched The Thing for the sci-fi, the science fiction of it. And I watched it for the horror of it. And it's the perfect blend of the horror and sci-fi, right? And it's the Thing, man. I have so many memories of this sitting in my basement watching The Thing. You know, nothing like a good old creature feature when you're homesick from school. When I was a little kid, put on The Thing. I would also watch Gorgia, I think it is. Something like that. It's like a Godzilla ripoff. I forget what it was called. I used to watch that with my mom all the time. But yeah, my dad was not a horror guy, and that's about as horror as he got. If it had science fiction in it, right? So my love for science fiction comes from my dad. My love for action movies come from my uncles. My love for horror comes from my mom. So there's a lot of different influences I had, right? And The Thing's just, I love it. You know, it's a great one to sit there and watch at wintertime. You know, the middle of winter during a blizzard, come down, put on The Thing, man. It's just makes you even feel colder. And I love The Thing. Brandon says the never ending story was a staple of my childhood. See, that's one I never grew up with. And I showed it to my son. My son and I watched it with my wife, and we thought it was a slog to get through. The never ending story. Um, Not really my cup of tea, I don't think. The never ending story. Even though I love fantasy, I like some things going on in it. I love the puppetry work and all that, for its time. But I don't know. It didn't do much for me, Brandon. That's right, Brandon. I'd rather not spend all winter tied to this fucking couch. Love that. Just love it. All right. The Prince says Van Damme or Seagal. Van Damme. I think Van Damme has a ton of a lot more movies that are a lot more quality to his movies. Seagal had his time when he was a little younger. When he first hit the scene, he had some really good ones. Like I liked Marked for Death and Hard to Kill, Out for Justice, but then he just got repetitive and he showed a big attitude. He had a big attitude. He couldn't work with anybody, and when you can't work with anybody in Hollywood, you're gonna get blackballed, man. And I think that's what happened to him. Brandon says, "Oh, JC, you're breaking my heart. I loved and still books on Never Ending Story struck a chord with me as a kid. That's great, man. But I don't know. It just didn't do nothing for me. I tried, but it didn't really do nothing for me. SK says your movie tastes are awesome, man. I love it. Well, these are the creme of the creme, right? These are not necessarily my favorite movies of all time, although I think most of them are. But things that this shaped you. Why do I love certain movies the way I do? When I look to go to a movie, what interests me? It's because of a lot of these movies. You know what I mean? And we're just getting warmed up, guys. We're still in 1982. Another Stallone one. You guys know how much I love this. First Blood. If I didn't already mention it, Rocky is my favorite film of all time. First Blood is my second favorite film of all time and probably my favorite action movie of all time. I love First Blood. With Rocky, like I said, it was about hanging out with a best friend. With this one, if I had a bad day at school, if I was picked on, whether it be verbally, you know what I mean, name calling, or if I was just, emotionally done, I didn't want to go to school because of, assholes at school, I could put this on. You know what I mean? I could put this on and I saw Rambo being bullied. And when he breaks out of prison there, I'm just fist pumping. I'm getting up. I'm fist pumping. I'm like, yeah, kick his ass, kick his ass. And I love this movie so much. And even as watching it now, I love it just the same, just for different reasons. Because I can watch it and see a guy who's, going through a freaking tough time, man, who's struggling with PTSD and all his friends have died and he gets picked on by people. He just wants something to eat. You know what I mean? And then, the sheriff does this pushing and then he does some pushing of his own and this thing escalates, gets out of control and all that stuff, man. So First Blood is just another one from my childhood, guys, that this is personally means a lot to me. Definitely shaped my taste as an action fan. I mean, Stallone's my guy, man. He is my favorite. And First Blood has a lot to do with that because keep in mind, he didn't really become the action star until First Blood. And then Rambo 2 just sent him over the top, right? So great stuff. Brandon says, still love books. Sorry. It's all good though, man. Oh yeah. If we all had the same opinion on everything, it'd be pretty boring, wouldn't it? And all these movies, guys, so when I was into First Blood, you're talking like I saw it in 1982 at 3 or 4. But, I watched it a lot when I was around 8, 9 years old, 10, 11. Well, I still watch it a lot now. It's just one of those movies I watch all the time. I'm in love with it. You know what I mean? All right, 1983. Now, this is my favorite Chuck Norris movie. There we go. Lone Wolf McQuade, guys. Texas Ranger. Plenty of action to keep you riveted to the screen. Yeah, this is just. I love Chuck Norris in this movie. This is the absolute personification of Chuck Norris. This is where they really branded him, is in Lone Wolf McQuade. I mean, it's a one that a lot of people don't really talk about, I find. But I love Lone Wolf McQuade. I think it's a great action film. I love the characters. Good enough story. You know, it has one of my favorite fights in an action film or in a film between David Carradine and Chuck Norris at the end there. It is so raw and gritty and real. And they hated each other, these two. They had two different fighting styles. They hated each other. And it is pretty, it's a pretty aggressive fight. You know what I mean? Chuck Norris doing his jump kicks and everything like that. And he's just so fucking manly. You know what I mean? His shirt's unbuttoned, fucking his chest hair. He's all greasy and blue collar like and oily all the time, and he's just you could have the ultimate bromance with Chuck Norris, man. And I just love that movie and the score. You know, I remember watching this with my uncle. You know, my mom taped Silent Rage and Lone Wolf McQuade on the same tape. She would tape movies off the TV, and just amazing, right? And I would watch both those movies back to back. And I love them both, but Lone Wolf McQuade, watching it with my uncle, great memories of watching Chuck Norris and Charles Bronson movies with my uncle, man. And then that music kicks in, you know, the my horrible whistling. Yeah, it's that spaghetti western, right? Francesco De Masi did the score, which is a student of Ennio Morricone, who did all the Good, Bad, and the Ugly, and Once Upon a Time in the West, which you could really hear the same melodies and everything in Lone Wolf McQuade, right? The Prince says Burt Reynolds or Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris. I love Chuck Norris a hell of a lot more than Burt Reynolds. My dad loved Smokey and the Bandit a lot. Brandon says I never got in Chuck Norris, Seagal, Van Damme growing up. I missed their movies. Arnie was always my guy, and a little Hulk Hogan. Do you remember No Holds Barred with Hulk Hogan? That was a funny one. Brandon says I see Spider-Man 2002 and Speed in your background. Those two were classics to me. Love them. Yeah, up there. Spider-Man. My son loves Spider-Man. Spider-Man is my 16-year-old. He likes all the Spider-Man movies, and my middle son loves the Venom movies with Tom Hardy. I took him to see the last one in the theater, and he actually got emotional. He was actually crying at the end of Venom 3 in the theater. He'll probably freaking kill me for telling everyone this, but it was nice though. It's nice to take your son to the movie theater, let him watch a movie that he's really interested in, characters he loves, and just seeing him enjoy a movie like I enjoyed movies when I was a kid and watching them. You know what I mean? So it was a great experience taking him this. Even though I'm not into the Venom movies, they struck a chord with him. He really loved them. You know what I mean? And I thought it was really beautiful to watch. Lone Wolf McQuade or Missing in Action? Lone Wolf McQuade. I think it's the best Chuck Norris movie, personally. And Brandon says nothing wrong with tearing up over movies. No, nothing wrong with it at all, man. You know, you got to cry. All right, so we're heading into 1984, guys. 1984, I would have been 5 years old in 1984. Now, all these movies from 1984, I didn't necessarily watch in 1984. I probably saw them a couple years later. So, but I mean, one of my favorite movies of all time from 1984 is The Terminator. This could be the reason why I love action, science fiction, so damn much. Or there'll be another Arnold movie we're going to talk about, but the Terminator is just all story, man. It has everything. It's a perfect film to me. The Terminator has one of the best stories dealing with time travel done in a unique way, and James Cameron really putting himself on the map after this movie come out, going, look what I can do. Look what he did with a limited budget, fairly limited budget. The Terminator. Arnold is just made to play this role. I love Linda Hamilton. If you grew up in the 80s, you loved Linda Hamilton. Just such a sweetheart, man, in this movie, and really showing that real damsel in distress almost at the beginning, and then she gets her strength, shows her strength off, and at the end there where she kills the Terminator, and he says, "You're terminated, fucker," and she reaches for the button, presses the button. Amazing, man. Kyle Reese. Reese is just a badass in this. Michael Bihn's a badass. He's so intense in this movie. There's just an intensity to him. I even watching it as a kid when Sarah tries to escape the car, he's like pulls her by her hair, right? And he goes, "Terminators don't feel pain. I do. Don't do it again. Listen, that Terminator is out there. It can't be bargained with. It can't be reasoned with. It doesn't feel pity, remorse, or fear, and it won't stop until you are dead." That, man, those words just struck with me, man. Like how scared they made you feel of this Terminator, this unstoppable machine. And at the same time, the whole movie, action, sci-fi, horror, a genre splicer, but at the end of the day, it's a love story. It's a love story across time, and I just love that so much about this movie. So definitely shaped my love for when I look for a great story. When I'm in the mood for a great story, I'm putting Terminator on. You know what I mean? I just have to watch this movie at least 2 or 3 times a year. I just love it. Uh, the Prince says his fight with Bruce Lee was legendary regarding Chuck. Man, that was good. Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, it's so. It stands up, doesn't it? That one in the Roman Coliseum really stands up, and with the cat meowing and all that kind of stuff, I love it. Brandon says Terminator. Hell yeah. Oh yeah. Brandon says, which do you prefer, T1 or T2? T1. I still love the original. If I had to pick one to take with me on a desert island, I'd take Terminator 1. As much as I love Terminator 2 and everything that's going on, there is a lot of retread in it. They change things up and everything. It's still a great story, great acting, everything. It's a perfect film too. But I would just for that foreboding horror like slasher style, it just makes me feel, and it makes me. It's a scarier movie. I just love the tone more, and as you know, Brandon, you know me a long time, that I'm a big tone guy. You know what I mean? If I really got to get into the tone of the film, and I love what he does there with the tone of the film. Brandon said it can't be bargained, it can't be reason. It doesn't feel pity or most of it until you are dead. The prince is coming in. Come with me if you want to live. Yes. And Brandon says Sarah Connor. Yes. Boom. Prince says, have you seen Hardboiled with Chow Yun Fat? That was one of my brother's favorites. He loved this guy. He loved Hardboiled. It's been so long since I've seen it. It pretty much be a fresh watch, but it's one I have seen people request for me to review. So I'm definitely gonna have to look into it. I'm gonna have to rewatch that one for sure, Prince. The Asian action assassin. Brandon says, I agree. Tone is everything in a film. It is, man. Really is. All right. Okay, so this movie here, guys, I'm not going to reveal it yet. This movie I'm about to show you, 1984. This is the greatest adventure film to me, pure action adventure film. This is the movie I compare every other movie to, and that is Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. I watched it so many times as a kid. And I think having Short Round in there made me relate to it a little bit more. I know everyone's going to say Raiders, but I never watched Raiders a lot as a kid. I never really grew up with that one. It was always Temple of Doom and Last Crusade. So, and this just expand my love for Harrison Ford comes from this movie, comes from Empire Strikes Back. I just love Temple of Doom. I think the darker nature of the story is amazing. I love it all. It just goes from one action set piece to the next to the next to the next. The old Donkey Kong freaking cart sequence in this is awesome. Kate Capshaw, she gets on a lot of people's nerves, but I never minded her. She's supposed to be that damsel in distress, and I think she plays it well. And yeah, I mean, Mola Ram, I think, is the best villain in the series. I don't find the Indiana Jones villains are very good. Well, not that they're very good; they're not very memorable to me. But Mola Ram stands out. When you rip a guy's heart out, he's gonna stand out. Brandon says Temple is a legit good indie movie. I agree, it really is. Brandon said it's a prequel, but it pushed the PG further than Raiders, in my opinion. That's right. It is a prequel too. You're right, because you know what really gives it away is when the plane's going down and Kate Capshaw's like, "Indy, can you fly this thing?" And he goes, "No, can you?" Whereas Last Crusade, he goes, "Junior, you can fly a plane?" And he goes, "Fly? Yes. Land? No." The funny stuff. Funny stuff. I love the whole trilogy. I love most of the movies. I was not a fan of Dial of Destiny and Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is all right. It's all right, but not my favorite. The Asian Action Assassin says, I grew up with Jackie Chan and Jet Li, and it kind of skyrocketed from there. So I made it my passion to never shut up about Asian action cinema. Ninjas are assassins too. So with my love for it, boom, he says. Um, have you seen? This is to Prince, the Asian Action Assassin. Have you seen Flashpoint with Donnie Yen? That is some great Hong Kong cinema, man. I love that one. Um, that has some of the best martial arts I've ever seen, man. That movie. I got to get into more of Asian action cinema, but I really love that one. Uh, the Princess Temple over Last Crusade. Yep, I think it's the best Indiana Jones movie. That's me though. It's not a better movie than Raiders. It's just I prefer it. It's my preferred Indiana Jones movie. Brandon says Last Crusade is playing at my cinema later this month, and you better believe I'm seeing it on the big screen. Yeah, go see it, buddy. Oh, he says, no, I haven't, but now that you mention it, I will. Yeah, check that one out, man. Called Flashpoint, and it has Donnie Yen in it. There is an end fight that goes on and on. It is incredible, dude. Incredible. He comes up with says, I haven't seen the new one, The Prosecutor, but I love the Ip Man trilogy. The Ip Man trilogy is great. There's 4 of them, actually, 4 Ip Man movies, and I like them all. But the first one's definitely that's one of my favorite movies of all time. Is Ip Man. All right, there's one movie I don't have the physical copy here, and that's the classic Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters is a funny movie because I watched it so often as a kid that I kind of didn't watch it for years and years and years, and I went back to it a couple years ago when Ghostbusters was getting popular again, and it still holds up incredibly well. Ghostbusters is probably the reason I love Dan Aykroyd. I love Bill Murray. I love Harold Ramis. That movie really got me into what other movies they were in, like Stripes and Dan Aykroyd's movies, and what other movies Harold Ramis was directing. So Ghostbusters holds a special place for me, and I always forget that Sigourney Weaver is in that movie whenever I return to it. You know what I mean? That Sigourney Weaver is one of the main characters in the movie, and we got Rick Moranis in there too. He is hilarious in this movie. You got all the ghost stuff, the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. But the scene that probably always stuck out to me as a kid was the library scene. I don't know if you guys, when you first saw this, but when I was a kid, I'd be sitting there like this because it actually scared me. Even though the tone was comedic, that ghost when she goes, shh, and then they get closer and closer, and she kind of roars at them, and the effect still looks great. That used to terrify us because it's just so jarring. You're not expecting it, right? And I just absolutely love Ghostbusters. Brandon says, "Are you a John Wick fan, Jason?" Absolutely, dude. I love John Wick. I like all four of them, man. I think it's one of the most straightforward, in your face action franchises that is just amazing. You want to talk about modern action? Modern action gets it really right with John Wick. I could watch those movies over and over and endlessly. Absolutely love John Wick. The Prince says Donnie is starring and directing his Kane movie. Oh, sweet. Yeah, I really like Donnie Yen. I don't know what he's like as a director, but I really like him. He's one of my favorite characters in Rogue One and Star Wars. I am one with the Force. The Force is with me. I am one with the Force. The Force is with me. I am one with the Force. I love that movie too. I love that movie too. Brandon says, I love playing the Ghostbusters game on the Wii and PS3. Yeah, man. Just good stuff there. Good stuff. I haven't played it personally, but is it really good, buddy? I have PS5 now, so I don't know if you can play that game on PS5, but yeah. But my kids are always playing my PlayStation, so I don't really get a whole lot of time on it. All right, heading into 1985, this next movie I solidifies my love for action films. It's definitely one of the staples of my childhood. Arnold Schwarzenegger again. I think you know what movie this is. I had the poster on my wall. Somewhere, someday, someone is going to pay. Bow, 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 bow. There you go, VHS fans. Commando. And that is a beautiful cover. Arnold freaking jacked, going out to save his daughter. A little bit of Ray Dong Chong in there as our female lead. And this Commando jacked as hell. Arnold jacked, saving his daughter, messing everyone up. It has everything I love about action, man. It is just awesome. I love me some Commando, man. A staple of my childhood. I can't tell you how many times I would watch it. And I go to my cousin's house, they'd be watching it. My dad would watch it. My dad just loved the part where he's on the airplane and he goes, "Can I have a blanket and a pillow, please?" And he freaking elbows the guy, cracks his freaking neck. He's dead tired. You know what I mean? Just love it. It's amazing. Ronnie, what's going on, buddy? He said, love Commando. Yeah, I know you do, buddy. You love that one. The Prince is basically we are getting to know what our favorites. Love this shit. Absolutely, man. This is a great series I did. 31 movies that made me. I mean, anybody who knows me on YouTube, you guys know my taste. I'm sure none of these movies come as a surprise to you. But yeah. Ronnie says great song at the end. Yeah, buddy. Bow, 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 bow. Awesome. When he flips the phone booth, I lost it. Oh, you see how many guys there are all those security guards. There had to be 20 of them. He's like a superhero, and the action stars of the '80s were like superheroes. You know, he's like this, throws them all up. He's just doing his shit. It's just awesome, man. I just love me some Commando. I mean, great colorful bad guys. Bill Duke I think, is an underrated bad guy in this. You know, when he's staring off Arnold and he's like, "You scared, motherfucker? You should be. This Green Beret's gonna kick your big ass." You know what I mean? Oh man, you know what? I'm growing hair on my chest as we speak, just thinking about the movie. Man. Ronnie says throwing the saw blade to kill a bad guy, right? Chopping the guy's arm off and shit. Oh man, it doesn't get better. Doesn't get let off some steam, Bennett. You know what I mean? Punches the shit out of Bennett. And again, guys, check out All the Good Names Are Taken Productions. Productions. Is it still podcast? Anyways, All the Good Names Are Taken Productions. Ronnie and Blake, they are awesome channel. Definitely check those guys out. Oh, so much talking. Alrighty. Oh, another one. Another one that just I watched endlessly. I wore the bitch out, this tape. I wore this tape out, and that is my boy Stallone. Some Rambo 2. I mean, look at that. Fucking jacked machine gun. No man, no law, no war can stop him. Rambo, First Blood Part 2. Yeah, I watched it so many times, this movie. Now, I'm more of a First Blood fan. I even probably like Rambo now, like Rambo 4, more than Rambo 2. But if I'm in for some 80s schlock, if I'm in for just 80s over the top, I'm putting on some Rambo 2. I still really love this movie. Even though I criticized it a bit in my reviews and stuff, in my review of Rambo 2, I really still love the movie. Like, don't get me wrong. Right? When he's hiding under the when he's hiding in the mud and he grabs the guy, he just knifes the guy. Oh man, that was badass. And a hell of a score. You know the score in this? Ba 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 ba. Dun 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 dun. You can hum it. You can. It's in your head, man. It gets in your head and gets in your bones and everything. I just wish would have had more co. You know, the girl. I wish they would have fleshed her out a lot more. Maybe she didn't have to die so soon or whatever. But I love it, man. And the little speech he gives at the end, the action's great, the music's great. I mean, Murdoch is just an asshole, man. And at the end there, you know there's more men out there. You know where they are. Find them, or I'll find you. Love it, guys. All right. Stacy from Acres of Movies is in the house. How you doing, Stacy? She says hello and thanks. Brandon says, have you all seen The Last Stand with Arnie and Johnny Knoxville? I have. I actually dig that one. You know, it's fun. A nice little fun action movie. Stacy said he's dead tired. Yay. Also, I love the ice cream scene. Oh yeah, when she puts the ice cream in Arnold's face. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Stacy says, I'd love to have seen a John Matrix Commando trilogy. Yeah, that would have been a lot of fun. Prince says, do you ever get movie burnouts? Your movie watching life sometimes. I was undecided yesterday and I got bored. That's funny. He says Flashpoint, directed by Wilson. Yep, you got the Well Go USA Blu-ray. I don't know. I think I got the Asian version, to be honest with you. Brandon says True Lies is another great one. Yeah, I love True Lies. That's another one I really like. All right, continue in 1985. Into the horror movies now, or at least this one. Silver Bullet. Man, this really shaped my love for werewolf movies. This is my favorite werewolf movie, and it's why I love werewolf movies, and I'm always down for a werewolf film, probably because of this movie. Is this the greatest werewolf in it? Probably not, but this is one hell of a fun movie. You know, Gary Busey being Gary Busey, characters you can get by this brother sister relationship. Now, I didn't watch Silver Bullet. I didn't watch Silver Bullet in 1985. I was a little older. I want to say 10 years old, maybe. So I would have been 1989, 1990. Um, my buddy taped it off TV, and he would, we'd have sleepovers, right? He'd come over to my house. We'd watch horror movies all night, and he brought Silver Bullet, and I never seen it, and I was engaged from beginning to end, and I was even scared of the movie. Man, there are scenes in this that just terrified me, like the one where the wolf crawls up to the girl's window who's killing herself with pills, and that scene where he crashes through the window. I mean, the Daniel Attias, who directed this, the werewolf didn't look great to them, so he had to show it in shadow and stuff. And the way he shoots that scene is quite terrifying, man. And just the way I thought as a kid, are the suggestion and the way theater, the way Dave McCrae says theater of the mind all the time. When I watched this years later, when she lies on the bed after, and you just see a bit of blood on her, as a kid, the way I remember her freaking guts hanging out, her throat slashed. I remember it being way worse than it really looked. You know what I mean? But still a fun movie. And that one scene, there's some comedy in here too, right? Excuse me, guys. There's some comedy in here too, like the big fat dude, the drunk, and he's watching wrestling and shit. And he goes, "We're gonna kick some ass tonight. We're gonna bust his chops." And then he goes out to his what's it? Was not his garden shed. What was it? His greenhouse. And the wolf gets him. So there's a lot of comedy in the movie too. But when it's serious, it takes it seriously, right? Especially that one scene where Brady gets killed. And again, they couldn't show it. The mannequin looked awful. So the actor told the director, I will sell this. My son is dead. His head's decapitated. He's disemboweled. I'll sell it. And when he sees his son and he just starts screaming, it's a great performance. And then he goes into the bar and it's like, I'm going to get myself some private justice. You know what I mean? But Silver Bullet is a great time. It's a lot of fun, man. It's a lot of fun. And I just love the whole movie. I think it's great, man. It definitely shaped one of those movies that shaped my love for horror, definitely in the werewolf genre. Princess, is this your most favorite werewolf transformation scene? No. I think American Werewolf in London is definitely the best, but um when he finds the Reverend in the garage, you know what I mean? And the Reverend changes there, that's pretty good. Or the church scene, that's really good. Brandon says American Werewolf in Paris, a cheesy movie, yes, but it was nostalgic because I watched it with my cousin. Awesome, man. Yeah, it's a cheesy movie. I didn't really like that one that much. I have a good one. Have you seen The Raid with Iko? Is it Yua? I can't pronounce his name. I love The Raid. In fact, the director just did Havoc, the one for Netflix. I thought that was a good movie too, but I love The Raid. The way they shot The Raid, that handheld gritty style of the in The Raid, the martial arts, simple story, but man, The Raid is awesome. Prince says least favorite genre horror for me. Really? You're an action dude. I love that you love the action. I do love my horror. Um, but I love action just as much, man. First or second, I like the first Raid movie. I know a lot of people love the Raid 2 a lot more. I've always been a bigger fan of the original Raid movie. All right. Still in 1985, I've been watching this movie forever. I saw it as a kid. There's scenes of it that scared me, but most of all, it made me laugh. I thought it was awesome. This is the reason why I love zombies. Now, I'm not a huge zombie fan. I don't like every zombie movie there is, but this movie may be the reason I love horror comedy, and that is a Return of the Living Dead. And there's Lena Quigley on the front there as Trash, my favorite character in the movie. I love this movie. This movie is so fun. It is so funny. We get zombies running. It has a real um, punk rock vibe to it. The acting's over the top, but it's purposely over the top. You know what I mean? I just absolutely love Return of the Living Dead. I like all the characters in Return of the Living Dead from, you know, what's his name? Frank and Bert and Freddy and, Spider and Suicide and Trash and all these wonderful characters, and it definitely knows what it is, not trying to be anything else. Just a fun ass movie. Um, I love graveyards, and there's another movie we're going to talk about that. There's a reason why I love graveyard scenes, why I love cemetery scenes, but when that skeleton pops out of the ground and it's like, let's party, and he goes, do you want to party? It's party time. Just absolutely love it. Love Return of the Living Dead. I mean, there's that one scene that cracks me up so much, man, is when Trash is naked and shit. She's just danced on the coffins and everything. And by the way, a little message. You're gonna disrespect people's graves. You're gonna rub your hoochie coo all over someone's grave. Maybe you shouldn't do that, because look what happens to her. Anyways, I digress. Um, she's all over Suicide, right? And he goes, "You guys just don't get me, man. You think this is some kind of costume? This is a way of life." And then she's like getting all turned on by what he's saying. And he's like, "What the hell's the matter with you, man? Have some respect for the dead." I am in tears every time, man. Like, this movie this is my kind of humor. I just love the humor in this. I think the humor all works, and great soundtrack too. Stacy comes in and says, "What was the most funny movie you saw in the cinema around these times? What was your favorite cinema?" Um, well, when around this time, 19, I was just a little kid. Um, I remember going to the movies a lot more, a little older, maybe 9, 10. But we had, well, I grew up mostly in the country, where we had one theater in a town called Lindsay, um, which is not far from my trailer park where we go up every weekend, me and the family. Um, and the funniest movie I saw in the cinema, oh man, I wasn't allowed to see a lot of those raunchy comedies, so I didn't even see Planes, Trains, and Automobiles in the cinema. So I never, you know what? I can't remember. Honestly, Stacy, I could not remember. I don't remember going to see many comedies. Um, hmm. I mean, something about Mary is one. I saw it years later, but that's one I remember seeing in the show. So yeah, I don't know, Stacy. Man, I gotta think about that. I saw a lot of action movies and Stallone movies, and I don't remember seeing a lot of comedies. Oh, Police Academy 4. My dad took me to see Police Academy 4, and this is embarrassing to say. This guys, this is goes to show you how much I loved movies as a kid. Is that they gave me a choice. Do you want to see WrestleMania 4, right? WrestleMania 4. Or do you want to go see Police Academy 4? I chose Police Academy 4. I I was so into the Police Academy movies like you wouldn't believe, man. And I remember my dad taking me to see Police Academy 4. There you go. I was into wrestling, but apparently not that much. Princess, the one from 2001. Oh my god, I love that movie. Waiting for your review. um, all right. Brandon says, "Do you like Return of the Living Dead 2 or 3, Jason?" I like the third one. I haven't seen the second one, but I do like the third one. Princess also, I'm an anime legend, so I'll watch your Terminator Zero review. Yeah, that's my son loved Terminator Zero. We watched it together. My kids are really into anime. I'm not that much into anime, but I'm into Terminator, so I wanted to really see that. Stacy says that's fine, thanks, and fun show. I'm glad you enjoy it. I'm glad you enjoy the show. He says enjoying this list. He says cool. I love Citizens on Patrol. I love the skateboard parts and the yama 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 scene and the hot air balloon finale. Really fun movie. Yeah. I have the number 1 to 4 box set, but I think Police Academy 1 is just absolutely hilarious. And surprisingly, it's not on this list though. Um, but anyways, all right, 1985 still. Oh, classic, bona fide classic. I gotta watch Back to the Future at least once a year. I mean, how could we not? The DeLorean, Marty McFly, Doc, traveling through time. You know what I mean? Going back to the past and seeing this. You know, he can't get back to his own time, and it's a movie that is timeless. Even though it's an 80s movie, it's so timeless. You can watch this at any time of the year. You can watch it. This movie will still be around 50 years from now, and people will still be getting something out of it. And I think Marty is just really relatable. I love Marty McFly. He's one of my favorite characters. And we got old George McFly. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? The guy's iconic, Crispin Glover. But I think Back to the Future is just such a great score. It sparks our imagination. We never seen something like that before. You know, the time machine, using another time travel movie. And I like how each movie they all fit together. Um, I mean, what can I say that hasn't been said about Back to the Future? I mean, I think this movie's absolutely hilarious. And there's a lot to say in the movie too. We see Marty how his family is really disconnected from each other. They're all doing their own thing. They're not really a family unit doing family things together. Obviously they all love each other. I'm not saying that. His parents are they're they're just existing. They're on co-pilot, and I don't know. I really like when he goes back into the past and he sees his parents and he sees the potential of his father. He never realized that his father was such a artistic guy, imaginative, and he could write and stuff like that. And what happens to the past changes everything, and he ends up having a better relationship with his parents because of it. So, and him and Doc, that relationship and everything is great. And man, the power of love. Great songs in it. Love Back to the Future. I think it's just a timeless movie, and it's probably the movie of the 80s. I would say it's if I think of the 1980s, I'm thinking of Back to the Future. That's the movie that pops in my head first, and it's like Bob Zemeckis, Spielberg. They changed things. George Lucas. They changed the what do you call it? They changed the landscape of movies. In the 80s, and you won't see a time like the 80s again as far as film goes. Everything was done practically. very imaginative movies, very creative movies. Every director brought something different, and Back to the Future is no exception. Um, Brandon says, "I'll be back in time. Got to get back in time. I gotta get back in time." I love it, man. Stacy says, "Make Back to the Future 4. Tell Bob Gale to put a sock in it." Yeah, yeah. I don't think it needs to be remade at all. The Crow or Blade? Which group are you? The Crow. We're talking the original movie. The Crow. I love The Crow. It's coming up. It's hold on. Hold on. We're gonna get some party up. We're gonna get to some Crow. We're digging it. Oh man, an hour and 22 minutes so far. We're just flying here. Brandon says, "My brother and I saw Back to the Future in IMAX in October 2023. It was glorious." Oh man, I would love to see Back to the Future in the theater. I saw the original Nightmare on Elm Street and the Terminator last year in the theater, so that was a lot of fun. Movie Jeff, what's going on, Jeff? How you doing, brother? He says, "Hey, Jason." Oh, Brandon says, "Hey, Jeff." Good, good. I like when you guys are talking to each other. All right, we're going to 1986 now. So I would have been, how old would I have been? 7? 7 years old in 1986. I would have been. So a very a lot of these movies here are impactful to me. I want to say I saw them at 7 years old, but I rewatched a lot of these from 8 years old, 9, 10. Um, Now this may surprise a lot of you, but 1986, man. Ralph Macchio was huge, right? But I watched this movie, Karate Kid Part 2 was a lot more impactful to me than the first one. I like the first one. I watched it, but I remember watching this one so much more. And it's one of the great sequels of the 80s. I think Karate Kid Part 2 does what a lot of good sequels do. It expands on the relationship between Daniel and Mr. Miyagi. Daniel, he grows up even more. And I mean, what a great place to take the sequel to Okinawa, where Mr. Miyagi is from. And then Daniel learns some real life lessons, and is a little love story in there too. You got a great villain in Chosen, which he's just awesome, and how it's a real fight at the end. So now the stakes are really high, and it's a real fight, and that fight at the end with the music and everything is great. It's a lot of it is Mr. Miyagi's story. A lot of it is about, letting go of these what do you call it? These grudges we have with Miyagi and his best friend, and how he was disrespected and all that, and he wants to fight him, and they get their honor back at everything in this. It's all about friendships being repaired and letting go of those grudges. So there's a lot of forgiveness in it, which I really like. Fight scenes are pretty good. You know what I mean? And I've always loved the Karate Kid Part 2 a lot more than the Karate Kid 1. I just find it more entertaining myself. Movie Jeff says 1986 equals Cobra. You know what? I didn't watch Cobra that much as a kid, Jeff. It's not really a movie that really shaped my love for Stallone or my love for movies. I watch it more now than I did then. And in fact, as a kid, I didn't like it as much as I liked the other Stallone movies. It's weird. I actually grew to love that one a lot more. Cobra, if I'm being truthful here, you know what I mean? And another one from 1986. Ralph Macchio again. This is a cool Blu-ray, by the way, guys. Crossroads. I don't know if you guys heard of this one. It's kind of it's supposed to be like this VHS tape. I love this cover. As you can see there, Crossroads. Put it in the pile here. I love Crossroads. Walter Hill directed it. It's a true cult classic. Not very popular at its time, I don't think, but it got its fans on VHS, got its fans through time. And why is it so important is because I play guitar. I love blues music. This is the movie that kind of solidified that. When I saw this movie, it got me right into the blues music. It got me right into Robert Johnson's music. You know what I mean? And I've just loved blues ever since. Tried to play it like that. I tried to pick up all the stuff in the movie and try to mimic it and try to play it. It's got crazy ass one-liners in this movie. I mean, I love when Ralph Macchio tells Willie Brown, you know, you have to be Willie Brown. You play the harmonica. He says, "Boy, where I come from, you don't blow no harp, you don't get no pussy." That is so funny, man. And it has one-liners like that all throughout. The movie would probably be totally offensive now to this generation, but I don't give a fuck. I love it. I love it to death, man. I love some Crossroads. Um Prince says Rapid Fire 92. Yeah, I love Rapid Fire. Everyone, you know what? The Britney Spears Crossroads movie has tainted that movie. Because when you say Crossroads, everyone's thinking, you mean the Britney Spears movie? Oh man, you guys gotta watch this. You gotta watch Crossroads, man. I look at that cover. Beautiful. It's gorgeous, man. Gorgeous. Love me some Crossroads. All right, another movie that introduced me to horror. So this next movie I'm going to tell you about is my gateway to horror films. The reason why I am a horror fan is because of this movie. It's not going to be your guys' favorite movie, I'm sure, but I love it. I still love it. It made me the Friday the 13th fan. It made me the Jason Voorhees fan I am. And that is Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives. I adore this movie to death. Absolutely love Tommy returning, digs up Jason. Everything gets way out of hand in this movie. It's crazy. It's funny. It has action. It has everything that I love about movies. You know what I mean? It has that wink into the audience. You get car chases. They flip an RV. You get great kills. You get a Terminator like Jason. The opening of this movie is still one of the most glorious things I've seen. I remember being there. Um, Remember being there. My mom rented it for me. I'm sitting on a beanbag. I'm in front of my tube TV, watching Jason Lives. That opening music and those establishing shots with the fog coming in, and we see Tommy going to dig up Jason. And ever since I've seen this movie, I've been I used to have these nightmares of digging someone up, you know what I mean? Seeing a dead body, and graveyards just terrify me. Cemeteries would terrify me as a kid because of this movie. You know, it's a horror comedy. A lot of people say, well, it's too much comedy for me and stuff like that, but I found it terrifying as a kid. I didn't have to I could watch it, had fun with it, but there's things that just creeped me out about it. And I've always just loved that movie so much. I think it just has a little bit of everything. And I love this version of Tommy Jarvis for sure. So Jason Lives is definitely one of my favorite movies of all time. Brandon says Jason Lives kicks ass. Just wanted more nudity though. The RV scene's great, man. That's funny that, you know, she's completely clothed and he's actually showing his nippies off, you know what I mean? Court. That is one of the funniest sex scenes you'll ever see. It's so funny. Wrestling question: do you have a favorite Sabu match? ECW Glory Days. I don't watch wrestling. I'm not a big wrestling fan. I haven't watched it since Ultimate Warrior beat Hulk Hogan. That's the last time I watched wrestling. I watched a little bit of Trish Stratus stuff back in the day, but that's about it. But I'm glad you love wrestling. I'm glad you like it. All right. I do have the Blu-ray of this movie, but I got the little box set. um DVD box set, I think, and that's RoboCop. Another movie that I just watched over and over and over again is RoboCop. I absolutely loved RoboCop as a kid. My parents went on a date to see RoboCop, and we were getting babysat. And when they come back, my mom was just talking about how violent and vicious this movie was. And when I finally got to watch it, the violence was just so over the top. It was so awesome. This is one that me and my buddy would just watch again and again. Excuse me. Um, yeah, I mean, love RoboCop. I don't like it as much. Like, I enjoy it. I don't know if I like it as much as I did. I mean, I loved it as a young teenager and as a kid. I don't know if I like it as much now as I did then, but there's still a lot of fun in it, a lot of good action sequences. I like I think the bad guy, I think Kurtwood Smith as Clarence Bodiger steals the movie, man, for me. Personally, I think all the great stuff in it is his lines and everything. You know, he's sitting there doing the drug deal and he's like, "Guns, guns, guns. Come on, guys. The Tigers are playing tonight. Never miss a game." You know what I mean? He's so freaking awesome in this movie. He's so unapologetic. He's so bad. He never apologizes for it. He soaks in this slimy evil character. You know what I mean? Yeah, Brandon. Guns, guns, guns. Right? Just love RoboCop. And you know when he goes, "Can you fly, Bobby?" Or he goes, "Bitches leave." You know what I mean? And a really kind of Frankenstein style story, if you will. This this cop who gets shot, you know, a lot of religious metaphors, imagery in it, and he um he doesn't know what he is. He doesn't remember his family, but like he can feel that they're there, but he doesn't remember. And so he's kind of like this Frankenstein character where he doesn't know what he is, what his purpose is, all this kind of stuff. And I really like that part of the story. That's probably my favorite part of the story. There's the whole satire aspect of the story too. That is really cool too. And the corporation greed and all that kind of stuff is all laced through this too. Um Brandon says the RoboCop sequels are sillier, but they're a blast. Yeah, you know, RoboCop 2 was okay. Um I think they're coming out with a sequel with Neil Blomkamp. I think he's trying to get a sequel put together for RoboCop. That will be interesting. But yeah, RoboCop was one of the ones we watched over and over again. All right, my favorite comedy of all time: Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. This shaped my love for comedy. John Candy. After watching this, I was a massive John Candy fan. I still am. He's my favorite funny guy in the movies. I love this one. I love Uncle Buck. I love The Great Outdoors. I like all his stuff. I just absolutely love John Candyman, and him and Steve Martin are hilarious in this. I could still remember the day I saw this movie. It's still etched in my mind there when we watched it as a family and everything. And you know, every year me and my brother would watch this movie because we just thought it was hilarious. We'd laugh our asses off at this movie. And you know, when they're in the car, the rented car, and he's like, he finds Del Griffith really irritating, right? And John Candy's like, you know, he goes, there's a lot of things about you that irritate me. And he's go, you play with your balls a lot. And he's like, I do not play with my balls. And he's like, you know what I would really like? But an extra set of balls and a couple more fingers. And he does that awesome laugh he always does, John Candy, you know what I mean? He's such a heartwarming guy in this movie. Like, he's supposed to be this obnoxious talks too much, irritates you kind of person that you'd meet in real life. But there's something about him that is he's so full of heart. And when you find out about his story and then the ending with the music and everything where he's holding his hat and he has that big smile on his face. Oh man, it just brings tear to your eyes. I just love that I love this movie. You can't beat the chemistry between these two. It's a staple for every Thanksgiving, right? Yeah, Brandon, those aren't pillows. He follows up with Larry Bird doesn't do as much ball handling as you, right? That's right, man. It's just great, great movie. All right, 1987. Now we're heating up here now. Dream Warriors. Even though Nightmare on Elm Street 1 is my favorite nightmare movie, this is the one I watched the most. This is the one that introduced me to Freddy. We watched it. It was my brother's birthday. My brother was having a birthday party. They rented some movies. One of them was Nightmare 3, and I got to watch it. My mom let me watch it, and um, yeah, I mean, I just love Freddy in this. I love the story. I love the characters. I think the characters are fantastic in Dream Warriors. And what a cool story, right? Getting them all together, the last of the Elm Street children, and they have these powers in their dreams and bring in Nancy back and all that. And it's a great balance of Freddy, Dark Freddy, and just the beginning of that kind of funny Freddy where he's got the one-liners going. I mean, we want to talk about memorable scenes. Philip's death is such a memorable scene where Freddy's dangling him like a puppet, right? And leads him up to the top of the building, cuts his strings, and he falls over and all that kind of stuff. And it's got a great soundtrack with Dawkins doing the Dream Warriors. You know what I mean? It's great, and there's some good tension in the movie when it needs to be too. But it introduced me to Freddy. I've been a Fred head ever since Dream Warriors, man. Even though I love the first one a lot more, I think the first one's the scarier movie. But Dream Warriors is so much fun, man. It's such a fun movie. Another one that just really made me a horror fan. Movies like this just really really shaped my taste for what I like to see. And but they don't really make them like this anymore. You know what I mean? That kind of roller coaster ride, really fun. You know what I mean? Um, Brandon says Nightmare 1 is my favorite standalone, but Dream Master is my favorite sequel. Dream Warriors is awesome though. Yeah. The Dream Master, eh? Yeah, I like some parts of Dream Master. This is it, Jennifer. You've been breaking TV. Cut the prime time, bitch. I love it. Yeah, it's so quotable. Freddy's great in it. (1987's) Predator. You guys know I love this movie. I am a massive Predator fan, man. A massive Arnold fan. This movie just means so much to me. I think it's just one of the most entertaining movies you'll ever watch. I mean, Predator never gets old. The original Predator movie never gets old. It's a pure action delight. It has jacked up guys, tearing shit up in the jungle. And these are all big, burly, they're men, like they're man's men. They're men's, like it is, they're these, what am I trying to say here? They're the kind of guys that I looked up to as a kid. Like, oh, I want to be jacked like Arnold. And seeing them go into this situation, and then when they're the ones being hunted, they're the ones not know what the hell's going on. They're the ones who are scared. This movie takes a huge turn because it's no longer this over the top 80s action movie. It is this, really tense, almost slasher like, and then it becomes a survival movie by the end of it, right? It's just, yeah, Ronnie, all alpha males. just out, but in a good way. They're all alpha males in a good way, you know, always joshing each other. The pussy jokes, no offense to the ladies, but the pussy jokes are funny, man. I crack up at them because like who tells these kind of jokes? Yo, Billy. Even my wife laughs at the pussy joke, so they have to be okay. Um, but yeah, you can't go wrong with the cast. The Predator is one of the greatest looking pieces of practical effects, man. The suit, how wet and how he's sweating all the time, and when he takes that mask off and with his mandibles and everything, and he open roaring and beating the shit out of Arnold and everything. There's so many great moments in the and one-liners, knock knock, stick around, get to the chopper, payback time. You know what I mean? I don't got time to bleed. One ugly motherfucker. I mean, it goes on and on and on. Um, my dad always liked the Bill Duke part where he's like, "You're moving like a ghost, motherfucker. I don't care who you are back in the world. I'll bleed you real quiet, leave you here." Got that? That is just awesome, right? But yeah, I mean, Predator never gets old. I remember the day we watched it. That's what I mean. All these movies, I remember what I was doing. In our house, my dad rented Predator because he was a sci-fi guy, right? And he rented it every weekend for like 6 weeks until we bought it. You know what I mean? Um, and then he showed it to my grandfather. My grandfather came over. He's like, "Dad, you gotta watch this Predator movie." And I was just obsessed. I would watch this movie. I'd take my toy machine gun outside. I'd be knocking predators out of the trees, acting like I was a Jack Arnold and everything like that. And oh man, it just goes on and on, man. Um, you know what I mean? It's such a great movie. Like that's what I mean. The '80s, there was so much creativity going around. This good old popcorn, old school monster movie turns to this ultimate classic, and John McTiernan does Die Hard a year later. Uh, like one of the great action directors, you know what I mean? That's right, Blake. Predator is elite. Sorry, this is Blake. That's Ronnie. Um, Alphas. That's absolutely right. All us old school alpha males on YouTube. Predator is male toxicity at his best. Maybe Jeff said we should be grateful Van Damme quit playing the Predator. The original design was terrible. Awful. Awful, Jeff. It's awful. Um, I'm so glad we got what we got, man. I really am. All right. Speaking of Van Damme, another one that really, really solidified my love for martial arts movies. That's Bloodsport. I mean, I think I love martial arts because of this movie. I think this is the movie that led me down the rabbit hole of martial arts, and that's Bloodsport. The fucking Kumite, man. Bloodsport is amazing. I love this fun movie. It's so fun. I mean, the beginning where we get they set up the whole movie with where Frank Dukes is from and why he's doing this tournament and everything with his Shidoshi, and they go to the backstory where he learns martial arts and all. It's awesome, and that one great dramatic scene where his Shidoshi's son dies, and he says, "Teach me, I can do it." And he's like, "You are not Japanese. You are not a Tanaka." He goes, "Teach me, I can do it." And then it goes to the music with the montages. I mean, I absolutely love montages, especially '80s ones. I don't know why they stopped doing montages. The montages are great, man. And I love Bloodsport and Ray Jackson. All the fighting is incredible. The end fight is really good. Um, like again, quotable. You know what I mean? All these movies are very quotable. You know what I mean? It has big Rocky Four vibes too. If you think about it, when Chong Li takes out Ray Jackson, it's almost like Drago killing Apollo. You know what I mean? And it's I love Bloodsport, man. I just one of those ones we watched over and over. But it makes the list because like I just said before, I was just so into martial arts. Well, I guess Chuck Norris movies really got me into that, but then Bloodsport comes along, Van Damme stands out, and then I wanted to watch everything with Van Damme. Then Kickboxer comes out, and all these other movies he does, and I've loved Van Damme ever since, man. But Bloodsport is such a fun movie. Movie Jeff says Bloodsport's such an awesome film. Yep. Brandon says, "Will Lethal Weapon be on your list, Jason?" No, actually, Lethal Weapon's not a It's a movie I watched a lot as a kid, but it doesn't make the list just because movies like Rambo 2 and Commando and First Blood, they really made me into the act. They really what I love in action, and Lethal Weapon was close. I love Lethal Weapon. It's one of my favorite action movies. But those I couldn't, it was only 31 movies I could fit, guys. So I thought of the movies that I watched like so much, and that made a real big impact on me. So, and Jeff says very good, but brick not hit back. How I show you trick or two. What I also liked about Bloodsport 2 is all the different fighting styles from all the different fighters. I always thought that was really cool. That was really cool too, man. I really like that. You get like a sumo wrestler, and you get kickboxers, and you get kung fu masters, and you get the African guy who's like very tribal the way he fights, really primitive, right? Um, and yeah, I love it. It's such a great movie. All right, now we're getting into the '90s, guys. So now I'm around 11 years old in '90. This next movie's '92, I think. So I was 13 years old. Um, and that is I got a double pack. That's Al Pacino, Scent of a Woman. You see there? It's a double feature. See, I love Scent of a Woman. I love Scent of a Woman. This this movie really. This is the kind of movie that made me fall in love with these kind of dramas. You know what I mean? With comedy laced in there, but heavy drama. I'm getting older now. I'm understanding more in tune with my emotions, understanding this is where movies started to make me feel. There'll be some other ones on this list that do that, but I think Scent of a Woman's amazing. I love Al Pacino in it. This is when I started really appreciate acting. So when I got into Scent of a Woman, then I watched other things like Dead Poets Society, and I watched, some other movies we're going to talk about, but more drama heavy movies. And yeah, I love Scent of a Woman. It has some of my favorite scenes out of any movie. That end thing at the school where he stands up for Charlie at the end, and Al Pacino gives that long, long, long speech, but also where he's this real broken character, and I love stories about a broken character who thinks he has nothing left to offer because he's blind, and but he makes a real impact on this kid's life, Charlie, and Charlie makes an impact on his life, and just a relationship of two people, right? And but that scene where he's gonna kill himself, and Charlie calls him out on it, and he's like, "You still have a life," and he's like, "What life? I'm in the dark here." It's so good, so dramatic, and I'm in the dark. You know what I mean? I just absolutely love that. And yeah, Scent of a Woman's just one of those movies I just always loved. Still watch it every year. Stacy says, have you seen Colors? Yes, I have. I have seen Colors. Good movie. You the Sean Penn run, right? With Robert Duvall. It's a good movie. Stacy says, do you like European vacation fashion montage where they try out all the clothes? I love that one. Yeah, that's a good one. I enjoyed European vacation. I don't think it's as bad as people say it. Some people make it out to be. It's probably not one of the best vacation movies, but I still enjoyed that one. All right. My teenage years, 1993. Just entering into teenage, like I was 14. Um, Yeah, 14 years old when this movie come out, and I mean, does it get better, guys, than Tombstone? My favorite Western of all time. Man, this I rest in peace, Val Kilmer, recently passing away. If the Thing made me a Kurt Russell fan, but this really made me a Kurt Russell fan. And then, I already seen Overboard, and I already seen a lot of Kurt Russell movies, but I love Kurt Russell in this. I love this Western. I think, our if you grew up in the 80s and your father's generation loved Westerns, like the John Waynes, the Clint Eastwoods, the spaghetti Westerns are more of this really slow burn, visceral and raw and more dramatic. And Tombstone comes along when Westerns aren't that popular. I like that one, and I like Silverado. Tombstone comes along, and I think it's like my generation's Western. Everyone likes Tombstone. It's action packed, it's paced well, it's got the one liners all through it, it's got the characters, it's everyone's in this. Val Kilmer, Sam Elliott, Bill Paxton, Kurt Russell, Powers Booth's in this. Michael Biehn, Charlton Heston, Jason Priestley, everyone is in this movie, man. Everyone. It's just a great movie, and it has a lot of tension filled throughout the movie. And it's a real build up to that OK Corral. You get just as much great villains as you get good guys, right? And when they collide and meet at the OK Corral, and then shit hits the fan, and then Kurt Russell goes on this, takes out every cowboy there is. You know what I mean? And just a great story about a guy who's trying to find his way through life, and it's really much about Doc Holliday and Wyatt Earp relationship, that bromance, you know what I mean? And where they go after that, you know what I mean? And yeah, I think Kurt Russell plays it really, really well. A guy who just wants to retire, settle down, be with his family, and trouble this seems to find him all the time. And it's so quotable. Tombstone, man. I just love Tombstone to death. Stacy says, I love the training montages in Coach Carter. Those were some of the last great montages. Yeah. I have to rewatch that one, Stacy. She says, I like when the shop vendor says, okay, USA. Yep, that's funny. Stacy follows up with, I love Kindergarten Cop. Yeah, Kindergarten was great. Just reviewed that movie, actually. If you go on my channel, I just reviewed it. Brandon says, I'm not big into Westerns, but there's some frontier movies I love, like Cannibal the Musical, Bone Tomahawk's good. That was like disturbing, that ending in Bone Tomahawk. Did Tombstone Pizza collab with the studio when the movie came out? I do not know. Okay. A few more to get through here, guys. Then we'll end the show up. We'll wrap this show up. There's been a lot of fun, guys, but we're getting to the end here. 1994, The Crow. I am a massive Crow fan. I love just the original movie. That remake they just did, I couldn't even get through it. I checked out. I thought it was awful, man. But the original Crow, just an amazing movie built on a simple story, but so stylistic. I mean, you watch The Crow, the style of the movie, where it's almost it's very dark. It's very 90s with that 90s music. It's almost black and whitish. I think they wanted to film it in black and white. And you can see how this movie style rubbed off on people. And then you start getting stuff um like The Matrix, and then Blade, or I guess the Blade came first. Blade, then The Matrix, and then the Underworld series. And I think a lot of that stems from The Crow. And I do think Brandon Lee is fantastic in this movie. Just an awful tragedy where he died on set, but I mean, he'll be in our hearts forever for this performance. And when I think of where Brandon Lee would have went, if he would have lived, I feel like all Keanu Reeves roles may have been he may have been competing with Brandon Lee. I could totally see Brandon Lee in The Matrix. I could totally see Brandon Lee as a John Wick. I could totally see Brandon Lee as in Speed, you know what I mean? But as far as The Crow is, man, it was one of those movies like you got to watch this movie, and we watched it and over again. Again, a movie that's filled with great villains. A movie that you're just on this journey with Brandon Lee as this character of Eric Draven. And he's like a revenant. He comes back to do to right the wrongs, right, of these people who killed him, his fiance. They raped her, threw him out a window. He comes out of the grave, and this movie just he gets his revenge, and then he just goes back. You know what I mean? And it's so good. It's so awesome. It's a perfect movie to watch on Devil's Night in October. I love everything about it. I mean, all the one-liners in it, as Bash the Devil stood and felt how awful goodness is. You know what I mean? The way he takes out all the main bad guys, when he jumps off the building, he's laughing and he kills T-Bird with all his knives and everything, or not T-Bird, Tintin with all his knives and everything. Just great, man. Ernie Hudson's really good in the movie too as the cop, and Sarah, who plays the little girl, she's great. There's some prolific stuff in this, like when he squeezes the frickin' heroin right out of her arm, and he says, "Mother is the name for God, and on the lips and eyes of our children," and it's just like, wow, man, there's some good stuff in here. And the music, that '90s, you really dark, aggressive, alternative style music fits this movie so well. And it's another movie that feels timeless, but it feels so '90s as well. It's really hard to explain. It's unique. It's just an extremely unique movie. Brandon says, "Fire it up. I saw The Crow later in life. I'll always regret not seeing this movie in the '90s or early 2000s when I was a teens." Me and my buddy Mike, growing up, we'd watch RoboCop and The Crow back to back every fucking weekend, man. We loved The Crow. We loved RoboCop. We just watched them over and over and over again. Brandon says, "Always remember onions on hot dogs. Make you fart big time." Onions on hot dogs is a must. It's an absolute must, man. All right. We got some Forrest Gump. I love this movie so much. And it's not so much really the story. Obviously, well, I do love the story, but it's the character. I love Tom Hanks in this movie as Forrest Gump. Um, just a character you absolutely fall in love with. And seeing this movie play out like on the backdrop of America's this worst times, I guess, through civil rights and through the Vietnam War and the Watergate scandal and all this kind of stuff, and seeing this character, just a character who's been written off, and he does these amazing things, becomes a war hero. Then what? He runs this huge restaurant, becomes a millionaire, does this long run for like 3 years, and that how he loves Jenny, and how Jenny pops in and out of his life. And I know a lot of people, there's harsh criticisms on Jenny, how she's the villain of the story. I think it's hogwash. I mean, Jenny is a very complex character that is very hard to understand unless you've been walking in her shoes. Yes, did she treat Forrest like crap at times? Oh, of course, the stuff she did to Forrest was awful, but she wasn't ready for a guy like Forrest. She just didn't. She couldn't even love herself. So how could she love him, right? And at the end of it all, she gave him the greatest gift, and that is a son, right? And that symbolic meaning of the feather. Um, are we like what does he say at the end? Are we is everything predetermined, or does things happen by chance and you just are we just floating around like a feather? And I love I love that. And there's classic um lines in this movie too. You know what I mean? And his performance is fantastic. I mean, when fucking Jenny dies and he's at her grave talking to her, that just brings tears to your eyes, man. And I just love, again, Alan Silvestri does the score here. He did the Delta Force, he did Predator, he did Back to the Future. I mean, that little piano score, like bum 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 dun 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 dun. You know what I mean? It's just amazing. I love Forrest Gump. I love this character so much. And it was at a time where, again, I started feeling a lot more in movies. I would get chill bumps when I watched movies and performances, and not that I understood love at that time, but getting a better sense of it. You know what I mean? And loss and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I think Forrest Gump is just a classic movie, man. Stacy said, "Do you like Posse?" Mario Van Peebles. I remember liking it. I saw it years and years ago. Brandon says, "Unpopular take. I don't like Forrest Gump. It's overly dramatic for me." Oh man, I love it, dude. I love it. Different strokes for different folks, man. Uh, Stacy said, "Yes, Son. I like the review video. That was terrific." We talk about Kindergarten Cop there. I think maybe you are. Stacy says, "I love See No Evil, Hear No Evil." Is that the Gene Wilder, Richard Pryor movie? Um, because if it is, I'm gonna try and review that for you this month, Stacy, and it's gonna be on my list. So it may not come this month. I'm trying to get through the list as much as I can, but I marked that one down to try and review for you. So um, hopefully I will do it justice for you. Because I don't know if I've seen that one. I don't know if I remember it. You know what I mean? So we'll see. And the last one, guys, we're ending with 1995 movies that 31 movies that made me. And this is a double feature, Braveheart and Gladiator. It's Braveheart I'm talking about here. I do have the 4K version somewhere too. But Braveheart, yeah, Mel Gibson's directed, starred in. This movie made a huge impact on me. I have reviewed this movie, but Braveheart, I was 16 years old. It was a class trip. We went to a theater where this farmer owns this farmer owned this theater, which is still there today. You can still go to this theater. The first reclining seat I've ever had in the theater. We watched Braveheart, and I had to write an essay on it. I got perfect on the essay. Technically, it was my first movie review ever. It was a little essay I did on Braveheart, and I guess, this is where I started really feeling things for a movie, where I felt this sense of passion for a movie. Whereas if you said something bad of this movie, I would get emotionally upset because the movie moved me in such a big way about, a character that had so much passion and heart to him, and the fight in him, that he would risk everything for his country, and fighting for love and for his brotherships, and for him to be fighting for a country so they could stand on their own, and all this kind of stuff. It's just a brutal movie, violent. It's really raw and gritty. It got me right into Celtic and Irish and Scottish music, and I started reading up on all the history and all that, and in a way, the movie really got me into history. You know what I mean? So my love of history comes a lot from this movie. Um, my love of period pieces comes from this movie. After watching Braveheart, I wanted to watch everything from. I wanted to watch every period piece movie there was. It's not a fantasy movie, right? It's a historical drama piece, even though it's not completely historically accurate. But I get why it isn't. They got to tell a story. But I mean, it was so impactful. I mean, the Battle of Stirling. That was the most violent thing I've ever seen in my life at that point. Most violent I've ever seen at that point. It was just brutal. Like, I just could not believe what I was watching. It was like, "Holy crap, man," and was 1995, it won some Oscars too. So, I love Mel Gibson in it, I love the cast, I love the music, I love everything about this movie. I still put it on, and every time I watch it, I'm like, "This is just a great movie, man." It probably when I did my top 100 90s movies, this was number 1. That and T2, I think. So, I have a great love for this movie, for sure. But, yeah, that is the 31 movies that made me a movie fan. These are the movies why I love movies, guys. Whether it's action movie or a creature feature or a comedy or, you know, um Superman being one of my favorite comic book heroes, my favorite superhero, my love for Rocky, my love for Stallone, all these movies, this wrap up my kind of taste, what I like. Now, have my taste changed? Yeah, they have. Um, I'm not the movie fan then that I am now. I like when it comes for horror, I like a more slow burn, tension filled ride now. You know what I mean? Um, I'm not as into, like, silly horror comedies as I was, but these are the movies that really shaped that taste of mine, and obviously our taste changed throughout the years, right? But I can go back to these movies and watch them and still love them. They age really, really well, and I just love them to death, man. So there you have it, guys. 31 movies that made me. Let me know in the comments what your movies that made you into a movie fan. What shaped your personal taste for movies? We'll have a great discussion in those comments. Whether you're watching now or if you're watching after the fact, let me know. And hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, all that jazz, guys. I would love to hear your thoughts on all this stuff. And just a quick thank you to Brandon Meacham, Stacy, the Asian Action Assassin, Ronnie and Blake from the All the Good Names Are Taken Productions. Matt Fauci, he dropped in. Um, who else we got? Movie Jeff. Thank you so much for joining me on this live stream, guys. I know this was just like I just set this stream up today. It was an impromptu. I got so it didn't get time for you guys to come out for it. So um but thank you anyway. Again, SK Thorag, I'm gonna butcher your name. I'm sorry. I'll just call you SK. How about that, brother? I'm from Sri Lanka. Accidentally, I watched your channel. I addicted it. um, that's awesome, man. Awesome. Thank you for coming out and all that jazz. But yeah, it's I want to thank you all for just coming out. I enjoy doing these live streams. We got another one coming up this Friday where I interview, well, not so much an interview, but we're gonna sit with James Sweet and Vincent DeSanti, directors of Jason Rising and the Never Hike Alone saga from the Friday the 13th fan films. And we're gonna talk about the Crystal Lake series coming out and Predator Badlands. Next week, I got an Empire Strikes Back watch party coming up. And we're going to be talking about the following week, the Maniac from 1980, the real grindhouse slasher movie with Joe Spinell from 1980. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Hell yeah, the Asian action assassin, DeSanti, Womp Stomp. That's right, from Womp Stomp Films for sure. So yeah, share the video around, guys. It really helps out when you put a like on the stream. Get people to watch the channel. Other people go, oh, you gotta check this guy out. He loves old movies, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, the best thing you guys can do is get other people to watch the channel. If you know someone else who would dig the content for sure. That's okay, Brandon. You can always watch after the fact, right? That's what's great about these. Um, yeah, so do your best to promote my channel too, guys. As it's not easy doing these streams all the time. and all that jazz. But yeah, I got lots of stuff coming out, guys. So stay tuned for more. And I really appreciate everything you guys are doing for the channel. And I'll just put this out there in the description. If you highlight the link and paste it in your Google or whatever, buy me a coffee. I got memberships available. If you want to donate to the channel, you can. As little as 99 cents a month. You could give $20, $5, $2. It doesn't matter. It just helps with, equipment. It helps with running the streams, all that kind of stuff. If you're interested, I just want to put that out there before I get out of town here, because I got to be in a classroom all day tomorrow. So I got to get some sleep, but this was a lot of fun hanging out with all you guys. So I hope to see you very, very, very soon, guys. And I'll see you next time, guys. And I'll get these last two comments. Princess, I'll see you on the next one, fam. Thanks, man. Stacy says, how far are you from Minneapolis? Do you like the Timberwolves? I'm in Canada. So, Timberwolves, is that basketball? I believe that's basketball, right? So, my son and I were Toronto Raptors fans. So I don't know how far I am from Minneapolis. I really do not know. Good question though. But yeah, I'll see you guys on the next show. So again, like, subscribe, all that jazz. My name is Jason. You're watching Backtrack Cinema. I'll see you next time, and I'll see you in the movies. Cheers.